to the show. This is the Jurassic World Epic Attack Baryonyx with the Chomp back feature. And actually, this is my first review ever. I don't anticipate that these will become common because I generally don't do reviews. Sometimes I've done shorts if I find products in stores that I haven't seen online before. You know, I like to share those if I can break the news about them. And for the Baryonyx here, the main reason I decided to post this review is because I legitimately haven't really found any reviews or very much about this figure. So before I continue, I'm going to go ahead and take this protective plastic wrap off it. And I'll go ahead and let you all see the box real quick. Some of it's been obscured by this giant import sticker. And, you know, part of it has been ripped off with the tape here. But this is what it looks like from the backside. Again, just breaking down all the features like the multiple activation areas for the injuries and the chomping feature, obviously. All right, and there it is in the box without the plastic wrap. So let's go ahead and get this bad boy out of the box. Take a closer look. All right, is that everything? Yes. So it's out of the box now. And there it is, the Epic Attack Chomp Back Baryonyx out of the box, as you can see. And when I first saw this at the store, my initial reaction was just kind of surprised at how large this figure is. And later on, I'll bring out the other Baryonyx figures so you can compare the sizes. And this one's quite bigger than your normal Baryonyx figure. And that being said, I also had some disappointment when I first saw this figure. And in fact, I didn't even buy it the first time I saw it. I had to go home and sit on it for a while. And I kind of thought about it, and I realized that this might be a rare figure. You know, I hadn't seen it anywhere, hadn't seen much about it. It's out of stock at Walmart.com. Even where I found it was kind of an obscure toy store. I just decided to go ahead and snap it up before it wasn't available anymore. You know, I made that same mistake in the past. There was I think, battle damaged Spinosaurus that I wasn't really sold on due to the coloration of it. You know, I didn't like the paint job on it, and it was a Walmart exclusive, much like this one is a Walmart exclusive. So I kind of slept on that Spinosaurus, didn't ever pick it up, and then later I wanted it, and it was gone, totally gone, and became a highly sought-after figure. So I didn't want to make the same mistake twice, and I went back, and luckily it was still there. And I have some criticisms of it, but also a lot of praise of this figure. First, let's go ahead and look at the features of it, and even look closer at just the sculpt. One thing I really like about this is that it has a separate mold for the teeth. It's kind of like it feels like a rubbery mold for the teeth, which we've seen a lot in the newer Mattel figures, you know, some of the better figures, which is way better than or older Baryonyx figures, or just older Mattel figures in general. You know, I love Mattel. I love their output, especially with the Jurassic World line. But I'm not a big fan of when the mold of the teeth is just built into the mold of the dinosaur. And they're just like this little globby, you know, stubs sticking out with varying quality of paint jobs. This is much better. The teeth are well defined, and it makes it look like a real animal, how they really pop out, you know, separate from the mouth itself. You know, kind of like it almost feels like each tooth is just an individual tooth and not just part of the same mold. So good job on the teeth, good job on the mouth, good job on the face in general. And in fact, I mean, really, other than the tail, This is a great mold. It's very similar to what we've gotten in the past, except obviously much larger. Really, it's the tail. The short tail is my main critique as far as just the mold itself goes. I wish the tail was longer. All right, now, also for the paint job, I at first thought that this was basically Grimm, a large version of the Baryonyx Grimm from Camp Cretaceous. And now that I've brought it home, it's really kind of a combination of Grimm and Chaos. You have the blue specks around the eyes, which are more reminiscent of Chaos. And then, of course, you have this very, very faint reddish orange close to the eye as well. I'm not even sure if you can see it, but it's there, which is more reminiscent of Grimm. And then the actual paint on the figure, like the main paint that we see going down the back and on the hind legs, it's sort of a greenish blue. And as you know, Chaos is more of a blue color, and Grimm obviously has more of a greenish color to it. This is kind of both. So they basically combined Grimm and Chaos for this figure, which I like that. I wish, obviously, that there was more paint going down the tail, or just paint in general. I wish there was paint on the tail. And I'm not sure about this beige, kind of brownish color, this sandy color for the base of the model, but I've gotten used to it. It didn't immediately catch my eye at the store, but I've gotten used to it now, so I'll say I don't have any issues with it. We've gotten a lot of Grimm and Chaos figures before, so I'm glad that this is more of like a combination of the two, which means it's somewhat more of the same, but also it's a little different. And here are the two buttons. Let's see, the first button I believe is for the chomping feature. There you can see it from different angles. You know, I kind of like it. Yeah, generally I prefer the toys where they can open and close their mouths. I mean, maybe there's a button, especially if it's on the tail. I would much prefer if it was like the Epic Attack Carnotaurus. This is what I like. I like it when you can move the head any way you want, any direction you want. You know, you can tilt it side to side from either angle. And there's a button that's on the back. Even this one, I would prefer if the button was on the tail. But still, with the Epic Attack Carnotaurus, you have a lot more flexibility with the movement of the head and the chomping feature. But with the Epic Attack Baryonyx, it really just has that one movement, that kind of head swivel to the side. Luckily, it doesn't make T-Rex sounds like some of the older Baryonyx figures made. So that's a plus. But I do wish we got more flexibility on the head. I wish we were able to control the head more with maybe the tail, like a puppet. So that was a slight disappointment. This is kind of like, I think, that Dinosaur Tracker, or I think, was it a Dinosaur Tracker? The one with the T-Rex that has I used it for my Spyrex short, the T-Rex that has like the goggles on it, and it also would just bite from like a side angle. I would way prefer just to move the mouth, have a button for just a general chomping movement and not the head swivel. But I can live with this. I can live with this. The other button is just for damage, just for the light up feature with the scars. Oh yeah, so if you double tap it there, you'll get both scars lighting up at the same time, and they'll kind of linger for a while. So here's one tap. Here's a double tap. Try again, double tap. Triple tap. Slightly more than a triple tap. I had to tap it consecutively a few times to get that, but yeah. That is it. I do wish we had some paint on the nails, these front claws. You are able to move the front claws though. You can move them out. They're able to swivel. Wow, quite a lot actually. Staying alive, staying alive. Wow, yeah, I like that. I always liked that. I mean, it's now kind of standard with these Mattel figures, but really love the flexibility you get with the joints, especially the arms and front claws. For the feet, again, you know, you can also move the bottom feet to help for posing at different angles or in different terrain. I prefer just to keep them locked into their standard pose, but you have the option to move them if you want. For the legs, they don't really, hey, do they? They come out a little bit. It's a bit stiff there. I wouldn't really mess with that much if I were you. But yeah, you can obviously move them frontwards and backwards if you want to give it more of a running pose. Yeah, I always want to put my dinosaurs in a running pose to chase after smaller prey, but generally this is the issue I run into. Yeah, but hey, still pretty solid figure all around, and there are ways around that, especially if you're into photography. I'm sure you'll have your own methods. Yeah, that is the gist of it. Now, if you want to compare it to the other Baryonyx figures we've seen, and then you can really see the size difference, I'll bring out, here we go. Here's Grim from the Camp Cretaceous line. I have all of the Baryonyxes except Limbo, I think. And I have a Snapback Limbo, or Snap Squad Limbo. Yeah, I have all the Snap Squad figures. You have Limbo, Chaos, and Grim. But for the mainline figures, I just have Grim and Chaos. The Grim figure could move its neck up and down with the tail and side to side, which I do wish we got with the new figure, the new Epic Attack. I wish we had that feature as well as the chomping, but hey. Wow. Yeah, you can definitely see the size difference when they're side by side. Here, look at that. This thing is just tiny compared to the Epic Attack. Wow. Look, it can barely fit its mouth around the Epic Attack, but the Epic Attack Baryonyx easily could devour the base Camp Cretaceous Grim. Same thing goes for the base Camp Cretaceous Chaos. Here's the Chaos figure. But yeah, that one had the action figure. With the sliding Chomp button. What I would have liked to have, again, would be something more like the Epic Attack Carnotaurus, where you basically would combine the Grim feature of being able to puppeteer the head through the tail and the Chaos feature of being able to chomp at the push of a button. Just combine those two features. But oh well. We got something that was still somewhat in the middle of those two features, but not quite. Yeah, so here's a lineup. Again, we're missing Limbo. Now I want Limbo, suddenly, just to round out the collection. But you can also compare it to the Hammond collection Baryonyx. The Hammond collection Baryonyx was my favorite Baryonyx figure. Maybe still is. It was more similar in size to the other Baryonyx figures, but, you know, had a longer tail, which I appreciated, and way more articulation and detail in general. Yeah, I remember after I saw this Baryonyx figure, after I got it, that was when I just stopped collecting the other Baryonyx figures. That's why I didn't get Limbo ultimately, because I thought, wow, the paint job on the Hammond collection Baryonyx was just so amazing. And I didn't think I would ever need another Baryonyx figure again. I thought this would be the end-all be-all. And in some ways it is. You know, obviously the Hammond collections belong in any Jurassic World collector's household. But at the same time, I'm very glad that we got the Epic Attack Baryonyx. It's the best thing I never knew I needed. I know it's not necessarily in scale with the other figures, but I just like having the option to have a giant Baryonyx. And, you know, it's weird because I was not even going to pick it up initially until curiosity got the best of me, and I looked into it and I saw that it's not really being stocked anywhere at the moment. Doesn't really seem like a lot of people have gotten their hands on this figure. So that kind of, made me want it more. I didn't want to miss out on it. But still, I was kind of debating whether or not I should still get it, because when I went to the store, it was sitting next to one of my favorite figures, two of my favorite figures, the Indominus Rex Dino Tracker and the Tyrannosaurus Rex Thrash and Throw, I think it is. I love those two figures, and I thought I was even on the verge of maybe just picking up another one of them, and thought, you know what? I might just want a duplicate of one of my favorite figures, because this one was even slightly priced above those. This figure is like $35. And I know it's not super duper expensive, but for a lot of the Jurassic World toys, unless there's something exceptionally amazing about them, they normally fall under the, anywhere from the $8 to maybe $25. Once you get it to the $35, that's where I start expecting a little bit more feature-wise, and I do still believe this would have been better with more features. Or, just different features. Everybody has their own taste, but for me personally, again, I prefer the puppeteering through the tail with a chomping feature more than just the swivel bite. And I'm not even a big fan of the light up damage myself. Of course, I think that's more for kids who might get this toy. So, it is what it is. There's still cool features nonetheless. Again, very much in line with other Epic Attack figures. But as you know, these Epic Attack figures have had some stocking issues for whatever reason. And so if you do see this Baryonyx, if you happen to find it in stores or online, I'd say go ahead and just pick it up. Even if you're on the fence about it, like I was, if you have the money for it, go ahead, pick it up, because it is a one-of-a-kind figure. We've never gotten a Baryonyx this large before. We've never gotten a Baryonyx with this paint scheme before. That seems like maybe it's the mother or father of Grim, Chaos, and Limbo. We haven't had a Baryonyx with this kind of sculpt before either, with at least not to my knowledge, with the rubbery teeth molded separately from the main sculpt. So just overall, I think it's a good figure. I was on the fence about it, like I said. Does it top my favorite figures of all time? No, although if it had the action features I want, it would come close. It might actually be among my top favorite figures. But for now, I still really like it, and it's grown on me quite a bit. So I basically consider the Epic Attack Baryonyx to be the ringleader of all the other Baryonyx figures. And it is different. It's not like the trio of Baryonyxes that we received in the past. It's not like the Hammond collection either. It's its own thing. So while it's not perfect, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with it. So yeah, that is about it. Oh, and here's the code for anybody who needs it. to add to your collection. And that about wraps it up. There you have it, the Epic Attack Baryonyx with the Chomp Back feature from Mattel. It didn't immediately wow me upon first viewing, but honestly, it's growing on me. So I do recommend it, like I said. Generally, with these Jurassic World figures from Mattel, I'm just either hyped from the beginning or I'm not. You know, it's either love at first sight or it's not. This is a rare case where it went from I wasn't interested at all to I was kind of curious about it to now I'm beginning to really like this figure. So I'm curious if this was love at first sight for some of you or not. And if it wasn't, I'm just going to tell you, I think you might change your mind once you get it. Anyway, that's all for now. Bye-bye.